All right. So where we are is we have my F250. It's a 2006 F250 6.0. So it leaks everything all the time. So anyway, we have a 2006 F250, and since it's a 6.0, it leaks everything. 3-digit take. What we have is, since it leaks everything a little bit all the time, because it's a 6.0 Ford, still better than a Duramax in my opinion. I really don't like Duramaxes. Somebody actually asked me about cheap, bottle fixes, which I'm not a fan of. But let's see one. That's my son. Great pitching iron. We're going to use some of this Blue Devil stuff. So we have a small oil leak. We're going to throw some oil stop leak in. Then we have, I know we have more leaks, right? So we have a small transmission leak. It's not a pan. I don't know where it's leaking at. But we're gonna throw some transmission sealer in it, and some pour and go coolant stop leak. All this stuff says that it's permanent fixes and stuff like that. Only reason why I'm doing this is because why not? And we're gonna fix the leaks in generally the right way. Since we're gonna fix all these leaks the right way, and tomorrow I'm gonna drive this thing for like 500 miles. So can we in fact go and stop a leak? If you're like broken down or something like that, right? So do they work? That's the general question, right? Will this work to stop a leak so you can get to where you're going, or temporarily until you go to see your mechanic, right? I don't know, and I don't know if it works, but I want to try. And since I want to try, and I have leaks on everything, let's do that. So we're gonna pan the camera around and kind of like hold it and all that fun stuff they tell you to do, right? So that's what we're gonna do, and then tomorrow, driving this around the state of Florida, from Fort Pierce to Fort Myers to Miramar, back to Fort Pierce tomorrow. It's going to be about 5 hours worth of driving, not counting idle time and things like that. So let's see what it does. My son told me that we need to show people where the leaks are coming from, and I agree with that. We should scientifically show people generally where the leaks are coming from. We're going to do that real quick, so that way we know you guys get to see, okay, listen, he's right, that stopped. And oh yeah, this is not a sponsored video. It has nothing to do with Blue Devil.
Unless they want it.
So this is where my truck was parked earlier, right? And that and that were not here earlier. Alright, so I don't know if you can see it. This is where we're at. We got a drip right there on the transmission line and stuff like that. There is nothing, so it's coming from up that way, right? Anybody who knows these 6.0s, it's way too difficult to really see much. And I know we have a leak over here, and we have a leak in the front cover. We did have a leak over here next to the turbo, but we were able to remedy that. It was just a loose hose. Okay, so tell me when you're ready.
I'm live.
Alright, so first thing we're going to do is the Blue Devil pour and go coolant stop. go stuff is supposed to be just that, just pour and go, right? So,
It is what's written on the front.
and we have a 15-quart engine, and these, I believe, handle per bottle. It's supposed to be 6 quarts, so actually we could have 4 to 6 quarts. We should actually have one more of these, but we don't.
Well, this will be a good test to see how efficient the stop is if you're using one less bottle than recommended for the amount of oil.
There you go. See? That's why he's my genius son. He's my smartest son. The other one is 5. And he's almost still smarter than a 5-year-old. Unless you ask the 5-year-old.
I think it's the case if you ask any 5-year-old.
Alright, so let's say you don't have a funnel available, right? But you do have like a piece of paper, right? What you can do is go and roll a funnel, right? Just want to make sure you have enough room to get it in there. Hold it like this, so that way it's pinched, and obviously you need it wider than that. But you go and you put it in here, you let it go, it'll actually go, and it'll escape. Let go of the paper, so it's actually holding, right? And then you go and pour in your junk.
So, if you happen to have any scrap paper around, in a pinch, it will work as a funnel. For those that don't know. For those that do know, they're already doing this. One thing to note, it's not perfect. As you can see,
It'll all go in there, and it won't go all over your engine, right? And stuff like that. And then this is now discardable, right? So nice and easy. I am a little bit apprehensive of putting stuff in my transmission, but I've heard good things about Blue Devil, so that's why we're trying the Blue Devil products. People say good stuff. So, and honestly, I want to give a good recommendation if this stuff's actually worth it at all or not, and if it blows up my transmission rather than yours. Well, par for the course, right? I'm willing to take the chance, so that way you don't. And if tomorrow this comes back on a flatbed of the truck, and we look at it and go, the Blue Devil didn't work. At least I can tell you. And then you go, don't use it. So this is the junk we used. So that's it. And we're going to try this, and we'll talk to you again Monday. Okay, so it's actually Tuesday, not Monday, so we're back. And I'm going to tell you what happened. Well, we put the Blue Devil in, and everything was at first, nothing works instantly. If anyone ever expects anything to happen like that, they're out of their mind, even with, let's just say, the magic sauces of the world. So we drove this, or I drove it rather, from Vero to Fort Pierce, which is about 40 minutes. Still had a little bit of a leak. Then the next day, I drove it from Fort Pierce to Miami, essentially. Then from Miami to Fort Myers. Fort Myers to Lehigh Acres, which is about 30 minutes or so. And then from Lehigh Acres back to Fort Pierce, which was 2.5 hours. In total, put about 650 miles on the truck. Total drive time, we were probably driving the truck, we were out all day I was out all day for about 11 hours, with half of that being drive time. So the truck running, and this is kind of what happened. Truck, as far as oil leak, gone. Doesn't leak any oil or nothing like that. So as far as that, it did a great job. With the coolant leak, right? And again, we're gonna fix things. We're not just leaving it up to the sauce, right? So when it comes to the coolant leak, now the coolant leak is a different story. The coolant leak we haven't been able to find, and we can pressure test the system, everything's fine, but we never pressure tested it hot, because you don't, right? You let it cool down, pressure test the system. It only leaks when it's hot. So as it got hot, it leaked and stuff like that. And I didn't notice it because I was also running my air conditioner, so you don't really look. And it's a slow drip, but it ran for 12 hours. So on Sunday, we went and got some pizza, did a family day, and lo and behold, truck overheated. And it's never overheated before. And I looked, surge tank was low on coolant. We put 2 gallons of coolant in it. She was fine, happy, temperature lowered, no leak, no nothing. It was leaking while it was hot, right? Because we slowly cracked the cap and and I could see the drip. And it's coming from behind the water pump on this. So I'm thinking that, what I'm thinking is the water pump's leaking, but most likely the seal on the water pump, not the water pump itself. We might just end up replacing the water pump because we have to take it all the way down there anyway, and if we're already there, just do the job. But as far as the leak, now we showed you a video of it leaking, just running and stuff like that, and I can show you the leak mark on the ground, and then we're going to fire it up, we're going to let it run for a few minutes, and then I'm going to show you exactly, I'm going to stop the video, so we'll just go to it and stuff like that, like it was running for a few minutes. Well, for me, it'll be a few minutes. For you, it'll be like that. So, hang on. So, with this running, and I hope you can hear me, you look in there. For the most part, the leak is gone. Nothing on the ground. That oil leak was already there. And this was the oil leak from the other day. That's where it was sitting and leaking oil. So, Blue Devil works as far as the oil leak, and it probably would have worked for the coolant, but the seal is bad, and it's just not going to get past that. Alright, so the conclusion, right? Does Blue Devil work? It will work to get you down the road, temporary fix, right? Still not a replacement for good old-fashioned mechanics, right? I would not say, you know what, throw this in, fixes all your oil leaks, right? Because that's a bad idea, right? You should always get something repaired properly. But if you're between paychecks, you can't get it done for a month or so, and you can't have it leaking oil, or transmission fluid or coolant or anything like that, yes, use something like this. As we found out with the truck, bad seal, right? Coolant fix, or the coolant bottle not fix the bad seal. And it wasn't supposed to, right? It's not really designed for that. It's designed to fix small things. Oil leak, small thing, fixed it. Coolant, different, because when it heats up, it spreads. Different. So it's not going to work as well, right? Did it slow it down? Maybe, right? But overall, I have to say, yes, it works, and I would use it again if I was between this or that. Mechanics hate to work on their own cars, right? So yes, I would use something like that as a temporary fix until I can get to it, right? So until I could pay someone to do it, or until I could do it myself, I would use the Blue Devil product. So that being said, there you go. That's our take on Blue Devil. It works.